Good evening, everyone. I'm Rebecca Sedonio Mondares. I'm here to present to you my assessment 2A in the subject Intro to Tourism and Hospitality under Professor Yazad Gandhi. I'm here to share with you about the Opera House. I'll share a little bit introduction, history, highlights inside the Opera House, the tourism opportunities and events, the push and pull factors, and as well as the Butler cycle model and the reference that I shared. Thank you so much. Introduction. Australia is famous around the world for its beautiful and captivating tourist destinations, in which tourists such as students, business people, investors, divers, and more travelers with disposable income are excited to visit major tourism locations such as Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Canberra, Adelaide, Byron Bay, and Cairns. Tourists came to have fun, learn, and explore what the generous land of Australia has to offer. One of those highlights recommended destination is the Sydney Opera House. The Sydney Opera House was constructed last March 1st, 1959, and it was completed in 1973 that led them to the 50th year anniversary. It was inaugurated last October 20, 1973 with a cost that reached up to 102 million Australian dollars to 962 million Australian dollars in 2018 under the ownership of New South Wales government. It is well known in its unique architecture by the Danish architect John Utzon, then finalized by the Australian team led by Peter Hall in October 20, 1973. Queen Elizabeth II graced the start of its work, and it was built from the Benelong Point on Sydney Harbour and in the middle of Sydney Cove and Farm Cove and up to the Royal Botanical Garden, reaching to the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Tourism is one of the biggest industries in the world. It is a very dynamic industry and changing constantly. Tourist attractions are often fragile and therefore we require careful management. Therefore, we need to understand that one of the most prominent Professor Richard W. Butler came up with a very great idea. He is a geographer and a professor of tourism, and he came up with a model called Tourism Area Life Cycle Model, which is based on the product life cycle concept. And the model can be used to study tourist attractions to see how they can change over time. So let's take a look at the exploration stage, involvement stage, developmental stage, consolidation stage, stagnation stage, decline, or rejuvenation stage. So we know that this tourism industry needs a lot of careful procedure, and like we need to understand that this cycle that used by butlers are very useful tool to understand the stages the tourist attraction goes through in its life, and it helps tourism planners and developers to examine how tourist resorts can change over time in response to the changing demands of the tourist industry. Let's have a look at the push and pull factors in tourism brought major effects in tourism industry in Australia. So most of the growth in tourism business numbers in 2021 occurred in three industry sectors such as retail trade services, cafe, restaurant, and takeaway services, and up to recreation, sports, cultural services, small businesses from the most of Australia's tourism businesses sector. Of all tourism businesses in June 2022, it gained 48% or around 172,263 were micro or small businesses and with 1 to 19 employees. And the other side is 48% or 169,897 had no employees other than themselves or the owner. There were 11% or around 6,416 additional non-employing tourism businesses in 2021 to 2022. This accounted to 85% of the total increase over the previous year. Highlights inside the Opera House. Well, let's have a look at the basic offerings. First is the concert hall. It has the largest mechanical tracker action organ in the world with the 2,679 seats. Wow, where you can enjoy the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Next is Drama Theatre, or so-called Opera Theatre, with 544 seats. And the next is Joan Sutherland Theatre with 1,507 seats in the home of Opera Theatre, formerly known as the Opera Australia and the Australia Ballet. Hudson Room also with a small multi-purpose venue, different types of production. The initial completion in 1973 reached 102 million, and the project of John Hudson brought prestigious 18 victory in his design, but it did not stop him from his resignation. This led to great controversy in 1990. Then he was reached and recalled to work in 1999. Then during November 17, 2009, he worked with his son who do more improvement to the facilities. We all know that Opera House is not only well known for its beauty and magnificent architectural design by John Hudson, but it also experienced a lot of major events. Like, let's have a look. On April 10, 1973, a long opportunity for to hear the first solo piano at the concert hall. Also on September 28, 1973, the first opera performed by Sergei Prokofiev. And then on September 29, 1973, by a first public concert was held by the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. And then next is the first violin and piano recital by Wanda Wikomirska. And then on 2000, it is the first point for triathlon during the 2000 Summer Olympics. Wow. And then on 2013, they hosted a New Year fireworks display. And then on 2014, February 14, 2014, they won a historic Guinness World Record. So for my summary, we could say Sydney Opera House is not just famous globally, but it attracts thousands of tourists and it brings a lot of profit to the Australians, to the tourism industry that leads to progressive and profitable economy. Its history remains alive in the heart of all the witnesses of its beauty and its magnificent purpose. Upon benefiting in the creativity and generosity of Uzun, we all are benefiting from it so much more than the next generation of Australian locals and tourists. What are we waiting for? Come, enjoy your visit. Bring your family. Learn to add to your experience of a lifetime. Tag along your family and friends as you explore Australia and Sydney Opera House. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a nice day and have an opportunity to comment and suggest for my presentation. Thank you so much.